What? What the How y'all doing? Nick Brengle here. Today we're talking about Dehancer. They have a new update, version 5.0. It's now available for Photoshop, Lightroom, and as always, Davinci Resolve. And it seems like they're also working on a plugin for Final Cut Pro. Today I'm going to walk you through just a few clips, color grade in Dehancer, and just kind of give you a little bit of my workflow within this amazing plugin that is Dehancer. So I've been talking about Dehancer for months and months now. Most of the videos that I'm uploading, I mention it or I'm using it within my color grading workflow, and there's a reason for that. It is just amazing. It's incredible. It looks a little bit daunting at first, a little bit of a learning curve, but if I can use it, then anybody really can. So all of these clips have been shot using available or natural light, except for one of them, which will be this one of my beautiful wife, where we, I used the lantern, the KODAKs coming in on her left side. I had some practical light behind her, hair light. It was dark outside, so we really had, we were able to control what we wanted to, and this is going to be the first clip that we'll start out with. So the first thing that I like to do when sitting down at this palette, you're going to start color grading. The first thing is step into these nodes and create your node tree. However you want to do this. I don't think there's any right or wrong way. You just kind of develop your own system. In this case, we're going to be doing most of our work in Dehancer, but we'll go ahead and label a couple of base nodes in case we want to do any extra work. And then we'll call this Dehancer. And as you can see, normally these base would involve some sort of base LUT like the Phantom LUT or any other kind of Rec 709 LUT that you would apply to Blackmagic footage, because this is all what you were seeing is Blackmagic raw footage. And so we're going to leave those alone for now, and we're just going to go ahead and put Dehancer in here. We're going to move the nodes away so that we can just focus on these everything in Dehancer. So we're going to go ahead and turn off film grain, and we're going to turn this off because it kind of throws us off. So when you first step into Dehancer and we're not doing any color, anything prior, we're not applying a Rec 709, you're going to come into this input and you're going to want to go down to choose camera. You're going to find your camera. They've added cameras. There's quite a few already in here. For our sake, obviously Blackmagic Pocket 6K, and then depending on what generation of color you were in and what base ISO you were in is going to determine what you click here. For us it was the base ISO 400, and as soon as you click that, now of course you're seeing the Rec 709 coming out of Dehancer. We could toggle this off just to show you, and you can even look down at the scopes down here and see how much dynamic range is pulled out from top to bottom, and how much range you have in not just Dehancer but just in Resolve in general, especially with raw footage. And so after we do that, we would normally we'll do it in another clip, but here's where you could also enable some sort of film stock, and obviously you can click different ones and you can see pushing and pulling it, and they all react as if it was that type of film, from Fuji to Kodak to AFCA, CineStill, and just all types of different. I think there's 62 different film stocks to choose from. You will not get bored. But for this one, we're just going to leave that off, and we're going to go with the Rec 709 coming out of Dehancer, and that's where we're going to go next to expand. And this is where you can mess with that black point a little bit and your white point. And these are controls that they do exist in Resolve, but it's not as fluid in my opinion, and this just it deals with the image a lot better than I've seen in other expand tools, whether it's in Final Cut, Resolve, or Premiere. I'm sure has different plugins as well for that. And we're going to hit this color mode. You have an option of changing it to the Luma. We'll leave it at normal. There's no need to do that because with this one we're not using any film stocks. So we'll come down to print, and this is where they've added the new Cineon film log, the KODAK 2383 print film, and the glossy. And we're going to do 2383. It looks pretty cool. Look, you boom, you hit it on. Look at that. Let's turn it on, turn it off, and you see a lot more texture, a lot of richness in the film, in the video clip, whatever you want to call it already. One thing that we noticed right away is her face definitely gets a little brighter, almost a little hot compared to what we originally saw, but we're going to fix that. And so we have target white, and we have all of these amazing controls within print that we can adjust things. So the target white, as you can see, if I slide it to the right, it's going to make it look even more washed out. And as I slide it to the left, you can see the image begin to, the texture to start to come back, especially you look all at that left side where that key light is hitting her. And the further you go over, you know, the more it's obvious. And so we're going to go super far over there. We want it super warm for this particular clip. That's just what we're going for. And then you can mess with the exposure again, because obviously things are definitely changing. We won't change that too much. Tonal contrast, which to me is a game changer. With this shot, there's a lot of dark hair, dark sweater, and so when you start to apply this tonal contrast, it is giving that rich texture that a film like, you know, that grain, without even having the grain on, you're seeing the texture come out. And so the further you go over with that, obviously the more affected the image is. So we're not going to go too far, just, you know, a little bit of tonal contrast. And then the color density, as you can see, if you take it all the way down, you bring it all the way up, I mean, it's just a massive change. Just this print tool is a huge game changer if you're going for a different look than that traditional clean. If you're doing something like this, talking head interview, a lot of the stuff I'm doing on YouTube, my talking head, this right now, I tend to lean into, darker, grainy, and wanting it to be alive almost and not look like some studio made, production. And so, that's just how I do it. You could change your saturation here as well. You could just make it black and white, I guess. And again, just to show you the contrast there, it's massive. And after that, the color head, I don't play around in this that much. I usually like the color that I have once I get there, but as you can see, this will adjust, things green, red, cyan, and this is all preference, what you see. And then of course I have the film grain. We're going to leave the film grain alone for right now, and what we're going to do is go back to our nodes. We're going to close effects here, and we are going to work on this base 2 node. First we'll go back to base 1, and we are going to adjust the offset, which is the entire image. So we're going to make it just a little darker, somewhere right in, say right in there. That works. And now we're going to go to our base 2 node, and this is where we're going to open up a mask. And basically what we're going to do here, since this is a stationary position, you can do this with any talking head interview, your own YouTube videos, anything like that, and you can really mask this out. This is not something that is in Dehancer. Obviously, it doesn't need to be. It's right here in Resolve. This is the part that I think is quite valuable, especially working in Resolve, and you can do it in other programs, obviously. But here we're going to set this up, make this a pretty soft edge, and now we're going to go into our offset again, but now it's isolated to just her face. And let's just make sure we get that centered. Okay. And you could track this, you could mask this and track it as she moves or whatnot, but since she's really just right there, we don't it's not necessary. We can just soften the edges and it'll be okay. So as I move this, you see, you can really, bring it up, but that's really not what we want to do. We actually want to make it just, we might actually leave that, okay? Yeah, we're not going to adjust that too much. And we're going to go over to our midtone, and our midtone is where we're going to add a little more life back into her face. Make it a little, okay, we got that. And you could color boost this if you wanted to. And now we're going to mess with the shadows and, bring that there. Let me go back to our gain. Now I'm going to go back in Dehancer and just adjust it. The black point to me, it's okay if this is what, again, it's personal preference, but this is very dark right here. And so I'm going to go to my black point and I'm just going to bring it up. I just want to see. Yeah, maybe we'll go right about there. That works. That's pretty good. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. And so at this point, you have, we've worked through Dehancer, we've adjusted a few base layer, we've adjusted and made a mask over this talking head. And quickly here, I will show you, number one, we'll take off Dehancer. So you're taking away the Rec 709, you're taking away, everything that you've pretty much done in your grading. And when you add that back on, you get this really rich, this painting is almost, coming out of the wall back there. And we'll also go back into Dehancer and we are going to add our film grain. And I like to put the film resolution all the way up so I'm not losing any. I like it to still be somewhat sharp, but with film grain. And we'll bring this way down. Certain clips, you just, you don't want to go crazy. And there you go. And if you take that off, you just see a very slight contrast and grain added, even though there was already some natural grain built in and texture. So the only other thing you could do that I would really do is add one more node underneath that face mask. And I would call this a background mask. And what I would do here is I would again go to our mask, but I would select the pointing tool. What do we call this guy? Whatever, the pen tool. And I'm gonna go ahead and just quickly mask around her entire body. We connect those. So once you've got this, you've adjusted the inside outside softness, you can do all this again. We're going to make sure we click this guy here so it inverts the mask, so it's everything outside of her. And then we're going to go back to our primaries, our offset, and now as you can see, I'm literally just adjusting the background. That's it. Let's take this off so you can kind of see. Obviously, initially, you could see this glow around her, and that's something that we're going to fix. We just go in here. We're going to jack up the softness, and boom, there you go. Now let's turn off this background. Minor adjustment. Again, took a minute or two, and just, creates a little more drama in the scene, a little more of a, I don't know. She could be talking about a murder. Who knows? I really don't know. Yeah. Okay, moving on to our next clip. This is again a static shot from the Lincoln Memorial towards the Washington Monument. And it was about pretty close to golden hour, a little overcasty that day, nothing fancy going on at all. And so we'll start the exact same way. Except with this one, we're just going to have 2 nodes. We don't need any other nodes. This is our base, and this is Dehancer. So we're going to go... Oh, God, the sun is coming out now? What the... Okay, we're adjusting to the sun. It's getting a lot brighter in here today. I don't know what is going on. So we are going to move on to this next clip as we've already set up our base and Dehancer. So we're going to go ahead and plug that in here, and what we're going to do is walk through the same process, choosing the camera and selecting our ISO, our base. So we slap that on, and right now it's got the Vision 3 from KODAK, and you can see it's completely different right away. So what we're going to do here first is, I actually kind of like this this look, but I don't know if we'll keep it. Let's see. We're going to go down to our expand and check our black point, and we'll bring it down a little bit. Our white point, we're actually also going to bring it down. I'd like to retain a little bit of the sky. There wasn't really that much color to begin with. Then we're going to go down to our print. Now we could add, you know, that Kodak print, and as you can see, it really changes the feel. It gritties it up a little bit. We're not going to use that today on this clip in particular. And we'll mess with this exposure. Again, the tonal contrast, which kind of does what that Kodak print film will do as far as the texture goes. So we'll add a little bit of that. And then color density, we'll bring that up to like 33, something like that. Yeah, that works about right. And as you can see, turn it off. It's subtle, but you can't tell the difference. We'll move down to grain, and we'll go ahead and do the same thing we did before. We'll lower it and just real subtle grain. And now we can go back up to our temperature control if we would like to change the temperature. You know, we can make it cooler, make it warmer. We don't really need to do that. Maybe you know, just a little bit warmer. Tint, we don't need to do any of those other things. We'll go back to our base now, and we are going to add a little bit of sharpness. And that's pretty much it. I don't, you know, this has an interesting look here. Let's go ahead and take off Dehancer, and just the amount of work the Dehancer does. If you know, walk through turning off each and every, you know, little piece of tool, you can really see how much it affects the image. Now I will say one thing you could do. This is just me spitballing here. You could add another node in between, and you could mask out this sky if you wanted to. And again, super easy. You just bring this around here, all along here, and maybe go around the monument. And I'm doing this very quickly. You would spend more time on this, definitely. But we're not going to. All right, so we did that. And now we're gonna soften it in the outside. And then we'll just really soften that like crazy. And we'll go into here. And this is where we are going to change our offset. And as you can see, I bring it down, bring some of that sky back. Okay, we're going to go to our mid-tone. And we want to adjust it just ever so slightly. Okay, so there's that. You turn this off, and look at that. Ever so subtle adjustment gives you some of that sky back, even though there really wasn't that much color, but it does make a difference. Big time. There's no doubt about it that that's making a difference. And so there you have it. There's that clip. So in this last clip, again, there was no added lights of any kind. There's just practical light, and all of the light coming into this shot is similar to the one right now that we don't have a lot of control over without a big crew, and that is the sun coming straight through a lot of window, and that's what's happening now. As we're adjusting throughout this video. Luckily, most of it is going to be right here on the screen, so it doesn't really matter. So nevertheless, the first thing we're going to do here, we're going to keep this one simple. We're not going to do any masking or anything like that. It's just going to be strictly Dehancer and a base. And I know I said that before, but we're going to leave that base and Dehancer. So I just label that. I always label, so just kind of keep in the habit of doing that, because as you develop different skills and tools in Dehancer, you're going to be making multiple nodes, multiple layers. Just think of it as in Premiere or Final Cut, you have multiple layers of color grading, effects, titles. That's what you're doing here. But you have to remember that as you add a layer on top of another layer, what is on that next layer? You don't want to add Dehancer first and then do base correction and then add a different LUT. You want to do it in the proper order, as if you're starting with a fresh canvas. So as we add Dehancer, again, we're going to go through the same process. Let me quickly get through that because it's just completely unnecessary. I believe this was with the Gen 5. Yeah, it was. Okay, so we have this base look. We're gonna select something different here. Maybe we'll go with a Fuji. What about Eterna? Let's go with Eterna. And as you can see, we're pushing and pulling it, but we're just gonna kind of leave it how it is there. We're gonna move down to our black point, and we're gonna darken it a little, and the white point will even darken it a little. And now we'll go down to our print. We have that KODAK 2383, and I'm gonna use that for this one. I want some more texture to this. And there's our target white, and we're, again, typically I'm not going to go to the right because it just doesn't look great. I'm assuming, if you have a darker image or different types of complexion, skin tone, depending on the lighting, this would be adjusted in so many different ways. But I'd rather be able to see, everything, kind of with a little more clarity. And our exposure is it's pretty good. We'll bring it down just a little bit. We'll add a little bit of the tonal contrast, and we'll bump up our color density, and we'll leave the saturation. Now if I turn that off, you see there's that base Rec 709. I'm sorry, not the base Rec 709, but with the Fuji Eterna. And it almost doesn't really look like it's doing that much until we add all of this work we've done in print. And so now we're working with something, that looks, it's workable. I want to go back up to this temperature control and just show you how, if we wanted this to be warmer, we could, but I would not. You can make it cooler, but you're gonna have to do a bunch of adjustments. So we'll make it just a tad bit warmer. With scenes like this, you may, a lot of the color is the same. You're not seeing a full spectrum, and even the light, in the background is a tungsten light, so it's not going to be as rich color wise, but as far as the texture and the depth in the image, when you're doing something like this, that's where it really shows, is in there. So we have that, and we'll leave this, and that's, this is workable. So that pretty much does it. We're losing lights. The sun is coming out. We've done enough color grading here. And if you haven't used Dehancer and you don't want to make the huge leap in purchasing this plugin, there is a free, I think, 30-day trial. So you can go to Dehancer, you can download that, and you can play with it. See if it's something for you that you can work into your flow of color grading. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's a lot of fun to just play with the different tools and see how you can apply them to different types of footage. I don't think it's for every single project, but some of the tools within Dehancer I do use on every single color grade, especially in that print tool. It is an amazing way to just give more life to an image. So if you're interested, there's a link down below. That link is specific to me. If you end up purchasing Dehancer, obviously you're supporting this channel, you're supporting me, and just drop a comment down below if you have any questions. I know this video obviously was longer than most, so if you've stuck around this long, thank you very much. Hit the like button. If you're new around here, consider subscribing. Go watch some other videos, and yeah, I guess until the next video, go color grade something. Go download Dehancer, check it out. If you're a Photoshop or a Lightroom user, you can use it as well. And as they're saying on their website, Final Cut is in the works. So that is exciting. But if you're in Resolve and you're editing video and you're already color grading in Resolve, then you should definitely be checking out Dehancer.